So the process of going for NCQA recognition is going to require a team effort within your organization, whether your organization is large or small. And you need to think of who you need on that team to make this process work. Now, of course, the most important person in the team is the glue that holds it together. That's probably you if you're watching this, but it's going to be somebody with strong management skills and someone who has great attention to detail, who's going to be able to assure that the process moves along at a steady pace and doesn't become overwhelming for any of the team members. You also are going to need to be able to mediate between team members because you're looking for people with very different skill sets. You'll need someone with clinical background. There's clinical information that's being gathered here, and you need someone who's going to be able to process and explain that into the application. You will need someone who's working more on the organizational or administrative side of your practice to be sure that they capture all of the protocols that go into open access and other key elements of the patient-centered medical home that are part of the NCQA recognition process. There's a lot of data that goes into this. You're going to need somebody who manages your data within your IT department, whether that's internal or external, or exactly how that works in your practice, because someone's going to need to be able to arrange and organize that data in a way that is useful both to the practice as part of the quality improvement processes and for the documentation that you need to present to the NCQA. And finally, in general, you're going to need people with this computer skills to gather the documents that you need. A lot of the documentation here are PDFs of screenshots of what your computer system and what your IT system looks like while it's doing the things that are important to a patient-centered medical home. And you need people who are able to gather that information. That may be a skill, actually, that everyone on your team has. But you need some people who are quite good at being able to organize that kind of information so that it can be presented to the NCQA. Now, who are these people? And we've already heard some of that in some of the interviews. You know, the different teams gather different people. And I think the thing that's driving it is, what are you using the NCQA process for? Are you seeing this kind of as a way of taking a snapshot of work that you've already accomplished? Or is this something that you're using to help drive your process forward, that you actually are using the NCQA process to drive change within your organization? If the latter, then you're going to need someone who's a bit of an innovator and a risk taker on the team, who's still detail-oriented, still working towards the goal of recognition, but looking at the practice with the eye of a change agent and using the NCQA process to help drive some of that change. And that's going to be very important. If you're using it to take a snapshot, then you're going to need someone who's a team player, someone who's a good listener and is able to communicate what they hear from within the practice to present a coherent narrative to the NCQA of a practice that has made transformation part of its culture, because in the end, that's what the recognition process is looking for practices to do. All of these people are going to need to be detail-oriented because the elements are quite detail-oriented. It's important that you get the right information to the NCQA to achieve success, and that is in the details, so you're going to need that as well.